Let's also pull up the stock of Fortis Healthcare. A weak set of numbers in the fourth quarter with loss widening to about 5 times. What are the pain points? Let's ask BhavdeepSingh, the CEO at Fortis Healthcare. Morning, Bhavdeep. Thank you for taking the time. Take us through the numbers. What led to this widening of losses?
Fortis Healthcare, which, as you all know, is the hospital business plus the pathology business, has just announced. We've just announced our quarterly results and our annual results. And where we stand on our numbers today is that we've shown for the quarter, we've shown revenue growth in the range of about 5 or 6%, and annually both businesses have come in at about 8% growth. On the annual number for the full year, our EBITDA numbers have actually gone up. They've gone up slightly over last year, and from a growth perspective, it's continued movement in the right direction. What's happening today in our business, quite honestly, is that there's multiple challenges in the business. And where we stand today in Fortis is we continue to invest in great patient care. When it comes to the hospitals, we continue to invest in medical equipment, technology. We continue in our pathology business. We've added laboratories, we've added collection centers. But I think the most important thing happening in Fortis is our focus and approach, which is around the patient-focused environment and clinician-led development. And I think that's really starting to pay off quite well. Now, having said that, from time to time, the numbers get challenged a little bit. But I think when you look at a trajectory over a period of time, I think it's going to show, certainly for the foreseeable future, a healthy growth moving northeast as we go forward.
Right, but talking specifically about your profits, by when do you expect to break even and possibly become PAT positive?
I think the PAT positive piece, whenever I think about PAT positive for the business, so the entire, the enterprise business, which is Fortis and pathology together, is very, very close to getting there. I think that overall, in an investment-driven business, heavy capital business, I think that while I could establish targets and talk about when we might achieve it, we don't give forecasts of that nature. What I can tell you, very firmly and with a great deal of confidence, is that we're moving in that direction, and every one of our hospitals, every one of our pathology centers continues to do well. The FMRI hospital in Gurgaon had a record quarter. Our international revenue continues to grow. Our Fortis Escort Hospital, the premier cardiac institute in all of India, is doing well and rebounding from a couple of tough years that we had there. So I think that all indicators, whether you look at the hospitals, whether you look at pathology, whether you look at the medical specialties, so whether it's transplant space, whether it's oncology, neurosciences, cardiac sciences, all arrows point up, and that's a great position for us to be in.
Right. Also talk to us about your overseas business. That's seen some degrowth. What are the key pressure points there?
We've pulled out of India. We've pulled out of all foreign investments. The only investment that we have left, and we're on the verge of exiting from there, as well as is a pathology lab in Dubai. And as I said, we're looking at options there as well. We made a decision some time back that from an investment perspective, we would not be investing out of anything outside of India. Having said that, what we're finding is there's a tremendous opportunity in the O&M space, and O&M specifically stands for Operate and Manage, and we're finding there's tremendous opportunity. We are working as we speak we have a hospital in Mauritius, we're looking at hospitals in Kenya, we're looking at hospitals in other parts of Africa, we're looking at hospitals in the Middle East. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. There's lots of people who want to do business with Fortis, lots of people who think our brand represents great clinical care, and I think we're going to have some great partnerships. And the best part about it is that it's capital light and minimal investment, if any at all, from Fortis.
So then, talking about your hospital business in particular, what's the outlook for FY17?
So whenever I think about growth, whenever I think about how will our business grow, typically what people talk about is, okay, let's build a new hospital here, let's build a new hospital here. And quite honestly, we have 50 plus hospitals in India today. We operate over 4,000 beds. We have a fantastic business in place, and the best part about our business is that within the 4 walls of Fortis, which means without adding another hospital, we can actually take our bed count up to 8,000-9,000 beds. So FMRI, the hospital that I just referenced, we're sitting at about a 300-bedded hospital. This hospital, we're going to start adding beds, and in 2-3 years will become a 700-800-bedded hospital. Similarly, our Noida hospital today is a 200-some-odd bed hospital. That also can become a 450-500-bedded hospital. So our growth is going to come in brownfield, what we call brownfield, which is adding to existing hospitals, adding bed capacity. In addition to that, we'll look at medical programs. You all saw the headlines 3-4 days back where 1.5 million people in India are getting diagnosed with cancer every day. And that's a terrible, terrible burden for the country. From a disease perspective, from a wellness perspective, it's horrible news for us as a nation. As a citizen, it's terrible news for me and for all of you as well. With that said, though, we built our first oncology block in Noida in 2009. Subsequent to that, we've added 3-4 blocks in other hospitals, but we continue to invest in oncology, and we're looking at a new block in Amritsar. We're looking at a new block in Mulund. We're looking at a new block in Bangalore. So lots happening there. So we continue to invest in medical equipment technology. We've added 2 Da Vinci robots, which is state-of-the-art, the best robotic surgery equipment in the world. Very, very expensive equipment. This is equipment that's $2.5 million each. We've added 2 of them as well. So growth comes in multiple shapes and sizes. I think it comes in the form of the O&M piece that I referenced earlier, which is minimal, if any, investment at all. It comes in the shape of adding beds to our existing hospitals. It comes in the shape of adding new medical programs, new medical equipment technology. And I think that any one of these really is a wonderful prong in our overall growth strategy as we go forward.
Right. Also talk to us about your diagnostic business and what's the outlook on that for FY17?
Well, the diagnostic business continues to do well. We grew it, as I just mentioned, for the year, we grew at about 8%. We have very healthy margins, north of 20%. If you look at what's happening in the pathology space, there's lots and lots of excitement. And there's lots of folks who've come recently into the space and lots of news around it. But the reality is that we're the most established pathology provider in India. Our brand is the strongest pathology brand in the country, and we have a fantastic team of doctors, pathologists, of technicians who are just doing a tremendous job around it. So we've added, in the course of the year, we've added collection centers, we've added laboratories, and we'll continue to grow. And what we're finding is that more and more people, because when you want to talk about a reliable test, when you want to talk about a timely test, when you want to talk about knowledgeable pathologists to have a conversation with about test results, SRL scores very, very high. So we'll continue to grow the business. I think the business is very, very healthy. It's got a fantastic return. The revenue continues to grow. And I'm very excited. As you probably know, we've also announced that we're exploring the possibility of a demerger. And one of the reasons we can do that is we have a fantastic business. We're thinking about our first priority is take care of patients, take care of customers, make sure you do the very, very best in the pathology environment. But we also have a responsibility to provide great shareholder return. And I think this provides us, and we're assessing, we'll consider what options we have. But I think this again presents a great opportunity. So I think this is one of those businesses that comes along once in a lifetime, and fortunately it came in ours.
Right. In fact, talking about that demerger of SRL Diagnostics, what's the timeline that you're working with?
So I think the important thing to say is that we're not announcing a demerger. We're announcing an assessment, exploring the possibilities of a demerger as being one of the ways to unlock value. I would say that I think it's going to take a couple of months, 2-3 months for us to do this assessment that I'm just referencing right now. We need to go to our board. We need to get it approved by the board and our shareholders. And in terms of a next step, in terms of where we want to go. So I would say to you that by the end of Q1, if we're all sitting here again, that might be a good time for me to update and say, here's where we are and here's the decision we made. I would tell you the actual exercise, the activity of doing it, regardless of the path we choose, we're probably talking about 7-8 months, maybe up to a year, that it would actually get done.
Right. Bhavdeep, a word on your debt level as well. How are you looking to pair that going forward?
Our debt level isn't so bad. We're sitting at about 1,400 crore debt. And in a perfect world, we'd all like zero debt. But the reality is that we all have some level of debt. But I think for a size business that we have today, north of 4,000 crore, our debt levels aren't bad and certainly very manageable. So I think that from time, I think you'll see some spikes down, spikes up, but I think we're in good shape.
Right, Bhavdeep, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for speaking with us today. Let's just pull up the stock of Fortis Health for you. It's been a weak quarter for the company. Losses have widened, down by about 2.5% in trade. The management positive for FY17, also mulling the possibility of demerging their diagnostics business. But we'll take a break at this point.